Alright, let's go straight into the fire, because what is happening right now is not normal, and anyone telling you this is just another rumor is either confused or deliberately downplaying a moment that could reshape Nigeria's political and security landscape. Right now, as you're watching this, social media is in full meltdown mode. WhatsApp groups are on fire. Telegram channels are screaming. X is a battlefield. And everywhere you turn, one headline keeps jumping at you like a punch to the chest: Tinubu has released Nnamdi Kanu. People are forwarding voice notes. Others are celebrating prematurely. Some are warning that something big is about to explode. And everyone, absolutely everyone, is asking the same burning question: is Nnamdi Kanu finally free, or is this another dangerous half-truth spreading faster than facts? Today, Friday, February 6, 2026, we are cutting through the chaos. No clickbait. No emotional manipulation. No recycled rumors. Just the hard reality of what is actually happening behind the scenes, between Ipob, the federal government, the presidency, and the courts. And if you click this video thinking you'd hear, yes, Kanu is walking home today, brace yourself, because the truth is far more intense, far more dangerous, and far more consequential than that. Here's the blunt reality: Nnamdi Kanu has not been released. Not yet. But what has happened is something arguably more explosive. The battle over his freedom has entered its most volatile phase so far, a phase where legal action, political pressure, and national security fears are now colliding head-on. The confusion flooding the internet today didn't come from nowhere. It was triggered by a fierce, unapologetic statement issued by Ipob's media and publicity secretary, Emma Powerful. And make no mistake, this was not a polite appeal. This was not a soft reminder. This was a demand, delivered with the kind of language that tells you patience has run out. Ipob is no longer merely asking for Kanu's release. They are framing it as a matter of national survival. In their words, Nigeria cannot move forward while what they describe as a grave injustice continues. They are tying Kanu's continued detention directly to the chaos consuming the country, and that alone should make anyone paying attention sit up straight. To understand why this moment is so charged, we need to rewind to November 2025, a month that shook the Southeast to its core. That was when Justice James Omotosho handed down a life sentence on terrorism-related charges against Nnamdi Kanu. The ruling landed like a thunderbolt. Streets went quiet. Tension spiked. Anger simmered beneath the surface. And now, months later, that anger has erupted. Ipob has gone for the jugular. They are openly accusing the judiciary of acting as a political tool of the ruling APC. They are calling the judgment a miscarriage of justice, not just flawed, but deliberately orchestrated. In one of the most scathing accusations yet, they described the verdict as a vendetta disguised as law, claiming the entire trial was nothing more than a script written to keep Kanu behind bars indefinitely. And this is where things get deeply unsettling. According to Ipob, Kanu was convicted without being granted allocutors, that critical moment in any serious criminal trial where a defendant is allowed to speak before sentencing. To lawyers, that's not a small technicality. That's foundational. Ipob insists denying him that right wasn't accidental, it was intentional. A rush job. A decision made not in the interest of justice, but to satisfy unseen political interest. But the outrage didn't stop at the sentence itself. What truly poured petrol on the fire was Kanu's transfer to a correctional facility in Sokoto State, thousands of kilometers away from his family, legal team, and support base. Ipob isn't calling it imprisonment anymore. They are calling it exile. A strategic isolation designed to weaken his defense, drain resources, and quietly suffocate his legal resistance. Think about it for a second. Lawyers based in Abuja or the Southeast now have to constantly travel to Sokoto. The cost. The logistics. The delays. The exhaustion. Ipob argues that this single move crippled Kanu's ability to effectively defend himself, and that the judge knew exactly what he was doing when he approved it. Then came the part of the statement that sent chills down the spine of many Nigerians. Ipob directly linked what they see as injustice against Kanu to the spiraling insecurity across the country. They argue that while the government was focused on silencing one man, real terrorists were expanding unchecked. According to them, the warning signs were ignored, and now the consequences are everywhere. They pointed to the bitter irony: regions once considered relatively safe are now facing kidnappings, raids, and violent incursions. Yoruba communities. Northern towns. Rural highways turned into hunting grounds. Lives lost. Villages emptied. And all of it, Ipob claims, unfolding while the state channels its energy into keeping Kanu in chains. Emma Powerful's words weren't just political, they were prophetic and unsettling. He warned that those who traded truth for ambition would reap a wild wind. And when you look at the headlines today, mass kidnappings, bandit attacks, communities under siege, it's hard not to feel the weight of that warning. So now, the question comes back to you watching this. Do you believe Kanu's continued detention is worsening Nigeria's instability, or do you think these issues are completely separate? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. No insults. No abuse. Just real conversation. This is one of those moments where silence helps nobody. Now let's talk about the man at the center of this storm, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Ipob has thrown down the gauntlet. They are openly challenging the president to explain why Kanu remains in detention while the country grapples with escalating violence and economic pressure. They've gone as far as warning Tinubu that the advisors urging him to keep Kanu locked up are not protecting him, they are speeding up Nigeria's decline. That's not a light accusation. That's a direct political confrontation. Ipob's position is crystal clear: releasing Nnamdi Kanu is not a favor, not a weakness, not a concession. In their view, it is a necessity, the only viable path to calming tensions and restoring some measure of stability, especially in the southeast. And here's where things get even more serious. At the exact same time this political pressure is exploding, a major legal bombshell has dropped. On Wednesday, February 4, 2026, Kanu's legal team filed what they are calling the most powerful appeal yet, a full-scale challenge to his life sentence at the Court of Appeal in Abuja. This isn't a minor filing. It's an all-out legal assault. Kanu himself is asking the appellate court to completely overturn Justice Omotosho's judgment, throw out the conviction, and set him free on all counts. His lawyers argue that the trial was fundamentally unfair, riddled with errors, and poisoned by procedural violations. They are also fighting hard to have him moved out of Sokoto so he can properly prepare his defense. This appeal is now the battlefield that will define the coming months. Every headline you see screaming, "Tinubu releases Kanu," should be read with caution. What you're actually witnessing is the pressure phase, the demand, the resistance, the standoff. And finally, there's the warning that has many people uneasy. When Ipob says no justice, no peace, they're not issuing a crude threat. They are signaling that as long as what they see as injustice persists, genuine peace will remain out of reach, politically, socially, and spiritually. They believe the balance of the nation itself is tilted, and until that balance is restored, instability will continue to manifest in different forms. So now everything hangs in the balance. Will President Tinubu intervene politically through amnesty? Or will he stand firmly behind the court's decision? Will the appeal court overturn the ruling, or will it reinforce it? One move could calm the nation. Another could harden positions even further. This is a high-stakes chess game, and right now, Nnamdi Kanu is the most powerful piece on the board. We are tracking this story closely. Every court move. Every political signal. Every shift in pressure. And the moment anything changes, you'll hear it here first.